Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. Today we will be discussing data and analytics at the Big Four accounting firms. Before we do that, I wanted to remind you, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend.
Thanks for dialing the Big Four networks. You will be joined to your conference call soon.
I recently received a request to do a podcast about data and analytics solutions that the Big Four accounting firms offer. The person requesting it was requesting information about PwC's data and analytics solutions as it related to tax. And this person was told by a partner who they were recruiting with to learn about data and analytics as the topic was becoming big in the Big Four accounting firms. So that's what I wanted to discuss today. What are data and analytics, and why are they so big? How are data and analytics provided to clients? Is it an Excel file or is it an app? And why is it so hard to find information on PwC's and other accounting firms' pages? There's a whole lot of marketing around data and analytics on PwC's and the other firms' pages. There's just no solid examples of what a data and analytics solution is, especially for tax. If you go on PwC's YouTube, there's a lot of data and analytics videos, but they're not necessarily, here's the solutions. They just tell you all of the nice things that data and analytics can provide and why they are so popular. So I wanted to provide at least a little more insight today in the podcast. And it's hard to also find information on what specifically the firms do around data and analytics because there is no one-stop solution. Companies can use solutions like Excel, or they can have a custom software platform built for them. So that's why you don't necessarily see, here is data and analytics, and it's just one sheet or one brochure. Data and analytics can be a large Excel file with multiple analytics in it, or it can be a huge software platform in SharePoint, which is a Microsoft solution, or it can just be software as a service hosted in the cloud, etc. And the reason there's no one-stop solution is because all of PwC's and the other Big Four accounting firms' data and analytics solutions, they have different price tags too. Simple basic data and analytics solutions could be offered to clients in the tens of thousands of dollars, while an environment that involves machine learning and data mining could be millions of dollars, and the implementation could last multiple years. Okay, so let's go over PwC's tax data and analytics offerings and viewpoints, since that is what this person asked for. And also, if you'd like to request a topic for this podcast, I'll put our contact info in the show notes. According to PwC, they break data and analytics into 5 levels, for tax at least. And I'll provide a link in the show notes as to where you can find the information for these 5 levels of PwC's data and analytics solutions. Okay, let's go over level 1 first. Level 1, PwC describes as tax business intelligence. And this is something that the tax departments would do itself, and it's a self-service solution. So this would most likely, PwC would come in and they would build an Excel file for you. And for tax, it would look at your effective tax rate, your payable, and it would put it in nice, neat tables and graphs. But it would still be the client that would be in charge of this file after PwC comes in and builds it out for you. The next level is level 2. And level 2, PwC describes as a solution that involves dashboards, cockpits, scorecards, and visualizations. And these would all be built by PwC, and theoretically they would be built in the cloud, and the cloud would utilize the company's ERP system to pull the data and build these visualizations and dashboards. And this would be a great solution for many companies because many companies do not have dashboards and visualizations, especially of their tax obligations across the world. And they also don't really have visualizations or dashboards of their effective tax rate by jurisdiction by year. So that's why this is a level 2. It means that there's more work for the company and PwC to do. And each of these levels is more pricier than the next. That's why they're in levels like this. Next, let's go over to level 3. Now, level 3 is a tax data and analytics environment where the analytics are more predictive and can be used in tax planning. So that's how PwC describes it. They've used level 3 data and analytics is where you can start predicting things and using it for tax planning, as opposed to just looking at historical information. Instead of that, you're looking forward and using it for the future. And the software here would also likely be dashboards, cockpits, and visualizations. So you'd be using the software in level 2, but you'd be using it for more of the future state. And tax planning is usually done without solid numbers and forecasts and is often done in Excel. So that's why this is a huge benefit. So if a company's data is sophisticated enough, they can use this analytics tool to plan and forecast potential tax solutions that will minimize the tax obligation that they owe in future years. Next, let's go over level 4. So level 4 analytics, as described by PwC, are prescriptive analytics for tax modeling and decision automation. This is really a future state for tax departments, and I don't know any tax department that is in this position today. To have a software solution that can offer solutions in the future is pretty outstanding. And I think that might be the way of the future, but it is not the current state in the industry today. This solution would likely be millions of dollars, and the project would last multiple years. Lastly, there's level 5 of PwC's data and analytics solutions for tax. This involves adaptive learning, data mining, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. This is where artificial intelligence and machine learning can be used behind the scenes to see how companies' data is being compiled and analyzed. Then the software could learn from that analysis and the company's operations to predict the dashboards and analytics that the company will need in the future to create actionable tax ideas. And the software could also potentially offer tax solutions based on solutions that were previously implemented from the same set of facts. So if the company has an entity whose tax rate is increasing and that entity can be moved to a different jurisdiction based on the same set of facts, it's a partnership and this country offers very favorable rules for partnerships, something like that, applying the same set of facts to the same scenario, that's something that the software could do. And this area is really the magical area. This area is still in its infancy and is still growing. This solution would no doubt cost the client millions of dollars and would likely take years of upkeep to keep it working and keep it growing. And I have not heard of any company fully adopting this approach yet. It's usually small implementations and only a piece of the tax department or the accounting department that's trying to use machine learning and artificial intelligence. And mainly right now, it's robotics process automation that most companies are working with. Not many are working with machine learning and artificial intelligence right at this point, especially in the tax department. To recap, why do companies need data and analytics? Companies need data and analytics because most of their information is transactional information that provides little actionable information. For example, if a company paid $10,000 in tax in Japan, what does that $10,000 relate to? What year does it relate to, and how does that compare to last year? Was that $10,000 predicted in the foreign tax provision? These are all answers that can be written into a data and analytics dashboard software solution. As you might know, CFOs and CEOs don't want to see transactional level data. They don't want to see Excel. They also don't want the errors that come from transposing data from the ledger into Excel and then into summary formats like PowerPoint. They want the data real time and they want the data to be actionable. That is why data and analytics is such a huge offering from the Big Four firms and why they are pushing it so hard. Data and analytics are the wave of the future since many of the best companies have already automated a lot of their financial processes. So it is a good idea for you to learn as much as possible about data and analytics. And you can do this by visiting our website, big4accountingfirms.com, and by subscribing to this podcast. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening.
You are now leaving the Big Four networks. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend, and visit big4accountingfirms.com. Thanks for joining today's call.